So you remember I brought you out here, this little calf right here. I brought you out here last summer, and I had a red-hided steer calf I called the knothead. And he was banded when he was young, but they only caught one testicle, so he always had one that was kind of up inside his body cavity. Well, he always thought he wanted to be a bull, and I had a terrible time keeping him home, so I really had to keep my fences kind of on tip-top shape. Well, a year ago, come this January, we sent him to the butcher house, and he went into the freezer. Well, 2 weeks before he went to the freezer, our cow here to the right, cycled and unknown to me, had been bred by this half bull, half steer. You know, typically an animal like that is missed a band or is just castrated incorrectly cannot breed, especially when that testicle is up inside the body cavity. But you say 99% of the time, one of those times that I've mentioned, you never say never. There were no bulls in the country. All the neighbors' cows were gone. The only thing that was out here was that red-hided half bull. It was October 10th. I came out and checked the cows, and there was just my 3 regular cows here. I came out here on the 12th, and this little calf came out of the calf shed here with her mother. She had calved within that couple of days. So when I figured it backwards, she had to have been bred about the 1st of January, which would have been 2 weeks before he went to the butcher shop. Totally unexpected, and it was just jaw-dropping, shocking to me when I saw this little black-hided little heifer calf come out after her mother. This calf here that's just coming into the corral is this mother's calf a year ago, the end of September. So she has just turned into a yearling. The other calf is a steer calf. He's also about the same age. He's got another 50, 100 pounds on him. But this little baby calf is brand new, totally out of the blue, totally unexpected. You see, as soon as I start to move, see those ears go up, the head goes up, and say, well, what's going on here? Yeah, I'm probably 50 yards away from him. Cow doesn't really care, but that calf is all ears, all alert. Well, the real reason I brought you all out here to my playground again is I have my dump trailer full of sawdust and chippings. Dan, that used to work for me here a number of years ago, he had 3 big elm trees taken down. And a lot of this is left over from when they ground the stumps out, and he asked if I would bring it out and put it in my draw or my coulee that I'm trying to stop the erosion on. So these are the logs that we hauled out from Dan's place. They were 3 big elm trees like I mentioned, and when they dropped this tree, they just dropped them and put them into these 8-foot lengths or so. So I actually have 3 trailer loads full, one here, and one up here. So none of this is going to be usable for this year, but I'm always looking a year or 2 down the road to allow it time to dry out. And that's what I'm going to do for this. Probably early next spring, if I don't get to it this fall, I'll come out and block these into stove lengths. And I don't necessarily have to split them yet, but that will allow them to dry and be usable for a year down the road. You have to tell this little guy that it's not quite so bad around here, huh? Yeah, how are you? Hi. Oh, big heifer calf's got a itchy butt, huh? You're kind of hard on fences, you know. Yeah, you're kind of hard on fences when you push on them so bad. Huh. I'm not gonna let us get very close, that's for sure. You're gonna go hide in the sagebrush, huh? What do you think? What do you think? Yeah. You're a friendly old cuss, aren't you? Yeah. You're a friendly old cuss. You know, even as friendly as these are, and I can get this close to them, and the mother's pretty much this way as well. She doesn't like to be petted quite so much. But when that little calf just puts the tail to the wind and takes off, these others just take off too and say, you know, there must be a boogeyman around here. I gotta go too. Well, I've got some old junk T-posts. You can see how bent up some of these are. They don't have the tang on the bottom of them anymore. This one has been broken off, so it's kind of a short, stubby little thing. And I got a couple more here that are pretty bent. I've pulled out of the fence lines, and I'm going to take them down to that draw and show you what I'm going to do with them. This is my post driver, and I'm going to bury them in that coulee too, but they're going to act as a stop as I push some of these big old stumps down that draw. Loaded this all into the trailer here. It was pretty wet, so it may stick. I'm not sure how it's going to slide out of here. Hopefully it does. Throw all my junk posts out of here so I don't bury them in the sawdust. So let me take you down to the draw. I'm going to take my fence post down there. Show you what I have kind of in mind. Well, this will kind of give you a little perspective just how big some of these stumps were from that tree. There was no way I wanted to tackle this, and it's right at a crotch and branches, and it's a gnarly mess. I'm going to bury it down here. I think this is where the original path down here was, and as this wash got deeper and deeper, this road got moved uphill to go around it. So I'm guessing that that's just how much this is eroded away in all the years prior to us being out here. So this is where the original path was coming down, right through this area, but the head of the wash has worked its way clear up to here. I've already been bringing all my brush piles and my clippings from my splitting I got a few odds and ends, concrete and that kind of stuff from the hotel. But this path has had to move clear up here. This is the head of the wash. So this is how much fill I've brought in already. So I've been working obviously from the top down. And this is a pretty good sized wash. I have hauled quite a few loads of brush out here. And we're hardly just making a dent into it. There are tracks down here where my cows do come down through here. That redhead used to come down here a fair bit. He liked to rub on these banks. I think it's just fighting the itch of all the flies. But I'd like to put some extra posts in here so if those big stumps do come crashing and rolling down here, I can hopefully stop tearing out this fence. Kind of add kind of a little stop down here. We're not going to hold any fence. They're just going to stop the debris, I hope. Put all that ugly below the surface. Hopefully it's easier to stop than it is to go pick it up and bring it back. See if that helps. Well, a Bobcat is about 4 miles down the road. Gotta go pick it up. I'm not going to trailer it down here, of course, but I'll offload it up by the buildings and just run it down here. have a couple of big ones come down. Good thing I put that post there. That post here stopped it. Kind of build up a berm here eventually, I think. Yeah, must have hit that one pretty good. Loosened it up. But at least it stopped it, that's good. I get a little hesitant to push too far because that bank is back up underneath this brush. So as I continue to fill this up, it should just continue to fill in. But I didn't want to push my luck. I don't want the Bobcat down here. So I didn't push the bucket down to stay at dirt level. I left a lot of this old bark and debris there to kind of fill that back up. It'll just decay and turn to dirt here eventually as well. I may come up and clean up some of this stuff. There's a few chunks here that I gotta put down, but I think that's the bulk of what I'm going to do with the Bobcat. But as far as this old beast, we're right on the edge here, so I didn't want to come too much further in. Maybe with each successive load it'll just push further and further in. I'd like the base to kind of push out underneath it and hold it up here. Whether that'll happen in time or not, we'll see. These few remnants are just right here. That edge of that bank is right there. The others want to just fall away right there. That's why I don't want to push any further than I have. Underneath this brush, it can kind of hide on you. But this is going to provide enough of a barrier that the cows are going to go around. They aren't going to come up this bank anymore. They used to. So it's kind of like that saying, boys and their toys. Kind of like playing with toys. Like being out. Really nice day. We're supposed to be headed for a little cooler next week. Not drastic yet, but wind has died down. It's just beautiful. I don't think there's a cloud in the sky. Thanks for coming along. Thanks for watching.